this is TinyTableGames. Today, I'll be taking a look at the second Lorcana deck that I picked up, the starter, which is 101 Dalmatians mixed with something else I don't even remember, I think Moana. But regardless, time to check it out, see how it looks, and do a little deck analysis on it like I did the other one. I realize it's not perhaps the most popular video, but it is on my game shelf, and that's what I'm working through. So stick with me and enjoy.
Alright, so like I said, I'm using the Dalmatian deck, which is mixed with Peter Pan, interestingly, which, again, thematically makes 0% sense. And then you got some Lilo and Stitch stuff in, and Treasure Planet, I guess, or Atlantis. I guess it's Atlantis. And that guy's from 101 Dalmatians. So, and then Flotsam and Jetsam. So this starter deck's really just a mix of kind of just whatever they felt like putting in there, apparently. And this time I'm playing on a much more sane playmat than I was when I was using a public table. But again, no sleeves, because, hey, these are the only cards I'm using, and I'm not playing in a tournament, so I'm not too worried about it. So once again, if you're squeamish about this, look away. But I assure you I've played in many a Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, both with and without sleeves. And other than potentially devaluing some cards, back when I was playing it, the value wasn't that high to start with. It's really not that big a deal. And frankly, it's way easier to shuffle your cards unless you're going to do the 7-pile configuration double distribution, which theoretically, statistically speaking, does a really nice job of distributing your cards and reshuffling them. Although anytime you ever play in a tournament, it seems like all you do is either short yourself lands or get a flood, but that's another story. Okay, this is my starting hand. Improvise. Chosen character gets +1 attack this turn, draw a card. Peter Pan, Lost Leader Boy. Once per turn, when this character moves to a location, gain lore equal to that location. That's a pretty powerful card, which is why it's rare, I suppose. Even more rare. Once per turn, you can make 2 ink to reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character, put it in your hand. So deck mover, that's always nice. Puppies. Then Kidda, just a 2/2 ink potential, another deck mover. Top 4 of your cards, reveal a character card, put it in your hand. Man, this is all about pulling characters into your hand, huh? All right. So let's see. Since moving in lots of characters is going to be handy, and I really like, not really going to need attack per se, we are going to improvise that into ink. And we can drop Kidda immediately as a 1 ink card. And that'll pretty much conclude turn 1. And we draw in Flotsam. Start of turn 2, still at 0 lore. Eerie Pair. Your character named Jetson gets +3 attack. He's a 5/2. That's pretty nice. I don't have any 2 lore learners. 3 ink, 4 ink. I don't have any 2 ink characters either, so this is kind of a lost turn. Alright, well, Flotsam's going into the ink pool. We're going to use Kidda to go gather some lore, and that'll end turn 2. So I'm 1 turn behind. Whoops, sorry about that. 1 turn behind my potential earnings. And Jetsam. Well, that's a nice draw. Except, let's see, need 3 again. He earns 2, so that's nice. He's better than Flotsam for sure. Let's see. Tinkerbell, when you play this character, the top 4, put in your hand. It's a nice fishing card. Also earns that. Well, this puppy's costs 4. So, turn all 3 to bring down Jetsam. Oops, that should be on a 1. And now, have her go adventuring again, bringing it up to 2 lore. Reset, draw a card. Another puppy. Not really having trouble finding characters thus far in this deck. It seems like that's about all there is. Alright. Let's see. So we're at, bring that up a little bit. 3 ink going on 4 this turn. Patch, you're getting inked. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell. Alright, I'm going to bring in Tinkerbell and use her draw power. When you play this character, look at the top 4, reveal a character, put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of the deck. Let's find out. Pongo, again. Or Raleigh, excuse me. Wendy Darling, that's much better. Now we're talking. Or Nani, Bodyguard. Earns 2, earns 2. This one comes up faster. So, just going on the bottom of the deck. Hate to lose another 2 lore earner, but hey, what are you going to do? Then these 2 will go questing, bringing the lore count up to 5. Reset. At least I've been able to ink every turn. Let's see, Evasive, he's a 2-pointer, he's a 2-pointer. Tinkerbell again. Don't have any locations out yet. It's taking too long, so Peter Pan's getting inked. There aren't that many locations in this deck, to be honest, for that power to really even be. It's just there to be cool, I think. Alright, so 5 inks. That makes it... Can I get him... Statistically, that gives me a better turn of dropping both Wendy Darling and Pongo for a total of 5. And now, everybody but those 2 can go questing. 3, 4 brings me to 9 lore. Reset. At least we've caught up to the turn count and passed it, so that's good. Cubby. Man, lots of boosts to attack in this particular deck, huh? Alright. If I had 9, I'd do both of these, but at the moment, gathering lore is always more important. So, when I start stalling here, I'll use Tinkerbell again, but for the moment, Don Carnegie, which, okay, Carnegie Hall, or I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring him out. Goodbye to Cubby, here becoming ink. And questing everybody else. 3, 5, 6, 7. So that shoots us right on up to 16. Reset. Draw a card. Cubby again. Ink 'em. Might as well play Tinkerbell, even though it won't matter, just to see what happens. Dalmatian, Jetsam again, Cloud Kicker, and Kidda. So, lots of characters with lore earning potential keep coming up, which is pretty good, so I'd obviously hold Jetsam again. Yeah, probably. Although, a card with that Cloud Kicker ability is kind of neat, being able to bounce to your opponent's character. Unnecessary in a strawman game, but still nice. Alright, and then quest with everybody, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, which shoots us right over the top to 20. Alright, what did we learn? There are way more characters in this deck than in the other deck that I looked at. And this one seems to, unless it was just a lucky draw, burn 2 lore a lot faster, which is amazing. This is a much better deck than the other deck, and I would foresee this deck. It's not a good matchup between this deck and the Moana Scrooge McDuck deck that I looked at previously. That deck is really slow, and it's built around mostly denial, honestly, while you slowly build up like turn 3 or 4 before you even start cooking with any of those combos, which aren't really well set up in that deck. Whereas this one, it's a straight fetch characters, gain lore fast, and build up your challenge abilities. But it's almost entirely about fetch and build lore. So cool, kind of a speed deck in Lorcana, at least before it being fine-tuned. So that's interesting. Okay, looking at a little bit of deck analysis. I hadn't done this before starting to play with it, but there is no question this deck is just flat out better. It's got a much tighter curve for ink getting things out. The Scrooge McDuck Moana deck only had 5 1-ink cards. This deck comes in quite a bit better than that. Sorry for the glare there. 3, 6, 7, 10, 13, 14. So nearly what? 20 out of 60 cards? So almost 30% of the deck is a 1-ink card. And with the exception of 2 cards, they're all capable of generating ink themselves, and almost all of them generate lore. In fact, all of them generate lore. Every single, well, that except for improvise. But man, this deck is so fast by comparison. And look, one step up on turn 2, your ability to play even a, those are not the 2s, those are the 3s. On turn 2, sorry about that. Wendy Darling, an amazing card for 2 ink, really. And it's only uncommon? Huh, all right. That's a good uncommon card. All the puppies. Again, every card can be used as ink, unlike the Scrooge McDuck Moana deck, and there's a lot of them. Same with the 3s. The ink curve, if you will, mana curve if you're a Magic player, is really good in this deck. It really hits a stride at 3 ink. There's almost nothing you can't do in this deck when you only have 3 ink. And almost all of these are focused on fetching better cards, protecting the ones you have out. Only a few 4s. I mean, if you could easily win the game without having 4 ink out with this deck. It's just so stinking fast, which that's awesome. But doing that lets you use your Tinkerbell fetches, which is really great. Peter Pan, if he shows up, whatever. He's kind of an afterthought, honestly, in how this deck builds. Only a few 5s, and they're just all double lures. So if you get to 5 ink and you haven't won yet, it's going to be over pretty fast at that point. And then amazingly, unlike the other deck, which stopped at a 5 ink cost, this one actually has some 6 and 7s. Robin Hood, which is the first 4 inker I've seen, and he's just a rare, not an ultra rare legendary or anything. And then Starkey, devious pirate that he is, and Pluto, which, I mean, okay, super defense, that's great. But man, I mean, granted, 7 ink and 6 ink. In this game, I can't see how it's not nearly going to be over by the time you get there, but if it wasn't, in 2 turns, she could generate 7 lore off these 2 cards alone. This deck is just leagues better than that other deck. I'd say you're probably going to win a good 70-80% of the time, because it'd be difficult to have a bad draw with this deck because the ink curve, pardon me again for saying that, because I'm so used to thinking in Magic terms, the ink curve is so good compared to, trying to pick up the 1s, compared to that other deck that it's got no chance of keeping up with this deck. And the other deck does not have enough control or enough ability as it's constructed currently to strip lore off of this deck fast enough to make it matter. Those Kakamoras come out and can take 1, and you can use that Berserk trigger, but except there's only 1 card that will let you trigger that Berserk, or 2 with the Cogsworths. So 2 Cogsworth and like 6 Berserk cards in the Moana Scrooge McDuck deck, while you build up till turn 3 or 4 before you're really earning any lore, where by turn 2, you're already cranking in lore in this deck. It's just faster. I don't see how it's not going to beat that deck as constructed. Yeah, 75% of the time, let's say. So there you have that Lorcana deck analysis. In conclusion, I would say, if you want somebody to like Lorcana and you're buying starter decks to get them going, I would go with the Dalmatian deck, surprisingly, because the Moana duck family is slow, kind of confusing to use at first, and just isn't going to be a real winner as it's constructed in that starter. If you buy enough boosters and rebuild it, that's one thing, which I'm going to do in another video, because I picked up like 6 or 8 boosters along with the starter decks. So I'll be seeing how can this deck be fixed, if it's possible, just based on the 6 boosters I bought plus the 2 that came in the starter packs. But for straight, hey, I want to get my friends and family into Lorcana, definitely go with the Dalmatian deck. Do not go with the Moana deck. It's just too slow and too boring, honestly. But yep, that's just my opinion. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. I'm Ray, and this has been Tiny Table Games. Thank you for watching.